the people, there were definitely some like hippie-ish people who lived in my house at some point who would just bury like, you know, those like glass rod, like anything they had, they were like, well, throw it in the backyard and it will make it, it'll be a thing. Like I was cleaning up in the extreme back of my yard. I was just cleaning up piles of leaves and I touched on something that was like hard. So I dug it out and it was like a ceramic tile. And I thought, what a weird thing to be in the ground. And then I noticed it was butting up next to another one. And I pulled up 25 ceramic tiles. Somebody just laid them in a pattern and said like, hey, it's a back deck now. I put 25 ceramic tiles on top of the ground. It's a deck. And then eventually dirt and age covered it. Yeah, the ground ate it. My backyard is full of that shit. I'll just be like, I'll kick the ground and it'll hurt. And I'll be like, what the fuck? And I'll dig out a brick. Like, no reason, middle of the yard.
Maybe if we go to your yard to dig the beanhole, we'll find some really cool shit.
Can we make a fucking beanhole finally?
Let's finally do it. Let's finally do it. 2022
is the year of the beanhole.
What's
this idea predates face altogether. Do you want to explain it, Jeff?
Yeah, I got really into beanholes a couple years, over a decade ago at this point, because I read an article in the New York Times about it, and what it is, Andrew, is it was started by loggers up in the Northeast, like in the Maine, Vermont area. What they would do is they had to feed all the loggers, and they were moving campsites like every 2 days, going further and further up into the extreme north. And so the chef, the cook, would have to travel ahead of them and prepare food and have the food ready for them when they got there. So they developed this ingenious idea where they would dig a hole in the ground, right? And then they would take a big-ass, like, cast iron pot, and they would fill it with beans and then like a ham hock and tomatoes and onions and just everything you would want in like some yummy ass baked beans, right? This crazy recipe. And then they would close it up, right? Put the top on the big cast iron, stick it in the hole, about 4 feet in the ground maybe. And then they would burn a bunch of wood and then they would get all the hot, essentially the hot coals, and they would cover the bean hole, or they would cover the cast iron bean container with all these hot embers, right? And then they would stick like a piece of plywood over that and then cover it with like a foot of dirt. And then 48 hours later, when the loggers would come up, they would knock off the dirt, pick up the thing, pull out the bean hole, and they would have the greatest tasting beans on earth in this giant pot that they could all eat communally for like 2 days. And then at that point, then the chef would go up 2 days further and then make another beanhole. And so from everything that I've read in my extensive beanhole research, there is nothing on earth like beanhole beans. There is nothing on earth like 48-hour prepared beanhole beans. And when I was in the Army and we fought forest fires in Montana, one of the things that they did was they would give us these solar lunch bags that would have like a burrito in it, and it would be wrapped in like tinfoil, and the instructions were to find some hot ash on the ground that had burned, and then kick a hole, stick it in, and then cover it with the ashes, and come back in like 20 minutes, and you'd have a cooked burrito. And ever since then, I thought that was the coolest idea.
It's like nature's microwave.
Yeah, nature's microwave. So when I discovered the beanhole, I've been obsessed with the idea of making a beanhole forever, and we've been talking about it forever, and I really want to do it. I just haven't done it.
Yeah. You absolutely need to do that.
I explained this whole thing to Eric Barr recently.
Oh, did
you?
Yeah.
I would like to think that the inventor of the beanhole also invented the razor blade slot. Like the concept of like, this is his follow-up. Like you brought on Shark Tank. Everybody knows the success I've had with the razor blade slot. I got the newest innovation. Okay. We're not done putting things in a hole and then just forgetting about them for a while. This is the beanhole. You will never have beans better than when you put them in a hole.
And we haven't spoken as a trio in exactly a month. I've spent time with Andrew. We invented a product. We had to stop talking because it was getting too podcasty. Spent some physical time with Gavin. I'm still sore from it. I don't know how you feel. But we should dive into it. Where do you guys want to start?
I want to know why you're sore. What was the physical thing that you two did?
Well, was there anything that we had planned a month ago, Andrew?
Yeah, but I don't think that's happened yet. The thing I'm thinking of, the baseballs?
No, baseball's happened this weekend.
What?
Nick
what else?
is correct.
Oh, you guys did the beanhole?
Well, we did some of the beanhole.
What does that mean?
It means we dug the hole.
So you've done none of the beanhole. You've done none of the. You just dug a hole.
Well,
we did a very hard part of the beanhole.
That's the hole. That's exactly half of the work.
It's in the name.
Yeah.
I feel like
You can't have beanhole without hole.
that's true, but the hole, you can do a lot with that hole. That hole doesn't have to be a beanhole yet. You got options with that hole.
Let me just say, before we get into it, fuck that hole. Fuck that hole with everything I have. Fuck my backyard. Fuck my back. Fuck the hammer. Fuck the pry bar that was covered in rust. My hand hurts. I just have rust embedded in my fingers today, Gavin. I was making fun of you for whining about not having a glove yesterday, but today it's just like my fingers are on fire. Fuck the shovel that we bent in half. Fuck the broken wheelbarrow. Fuck the giant cinder block we were trying to use. Fuck everything.
How up to date is your tetanus?
It's up to date. I got a tetanus shot last year.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Are there any photos of this? I'd love to see your broken fucking wheelbarrow and your brick. Like, this is... I don't understand how there isn't better coverage of this event.
Oh, there's coverage.
There's
you just
coverage?
Didn't ask to see it yet. You want to see coverage?
Oh, I want to see coverage so badly.
Did we decide if I share my screen, can you hear it? Was that not a thing?
Oh, no, it was absolutely a thing we did, but I don't remember the results of it. There was a problem, I think. I don't think we could... Well, because it was the slow-mo video, right? With Jeff on the bike trick.
Oh, yeah.
We tried it then. Doesn't matter. Whatever.
What if I send it to Eric and Eric can figure it out while I do the talking part of face?
That sounds great.
That sounds like a good plan.
Oh, fun, sure.
Also, I'll say before we get into it any further, I will say we didn't complete the beanhole. I mean, first off, you can't complete it in one day. It's a multi-day thing. But there were a few mitigating factors that made us stop. One, physical exhaustion. Two, I have to go out of town tomorrow for the day, and I didn't want to leave my yard on fire and be on a road trip. That seemed irresponsible, especially I believe there's like Texas has like a permanent burn ban going on at all times. So I just didn't want to come home to a pile of rubble or a neighborhood on fire. However, we haven't talked about this with you yet, Eric, I don't think, or Nick, but I think Gavin and I decided after we dug the hole, since we're going to be hitting baseballs all afternoon on Sunday anyway, wouldn't it be great if to celebrate all the 350 dingers I hit? Come on back to Jeff's house, and we can all eat some beans together.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Gavin and I were thinking, Andrew, we'll mail you some beans.
Great.
Gavin and I were thinking maybe Saturday morning, we'll get up early Saturday morning and pop the beans in the hole and, set shit on fire and stuff. And then by the time we finish hitting baseballs 24 hours later, they'll be cooked.
I think it's a phenomenal idea. Eric, thoughts?
I'm for it. I can't think of anything more quenching after 350 baseballs than beans that have been sitting in your yard for a day.
More quenching than coffee and soup, though.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's probably, I'll be honest, probably going to be pretty close. Have you just swung a baseball bat 350 times? Come get these red hot beans.
You have to do work to get out of the ground.
You know that feeling when you're so tired and dehydrated and hot, where it's that feeling that you get rarely, where water just tastes so amazing and you just love every second of it going down your gullet? I cannot imagine that with beans. I really don't think we're going to be able to get the same effect.
There's no thirst quench quite like a bean quench.
So, I'm just trying to understand the mechanics of this. So you put the beans in the hole. Once you make the beans, you put them in a pot. Pot goes in the hole. You then have to fill the hole again, correct?
Yeah, so what you do is you put them in a cast iron, like a Dutch oven, then you triple seal it with like saran wrap, not saran wrap, but tinfoil and or aluminum foil, and then you pour hot coals all over it. And then you seal that into the ground and then put a couple feet of dirt on top of it.
Okay, so you're going to have to re-dig the hole after all of this as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And how deep is the hole?
How deep is the hole? Gavin, how deep is the hole?
He might be measuring it right now.
I think he left the measure.
Where did he go?
I have no idea. Maybe he's getting his dinklage stick.
It's
How many?
Yeah.
How many? What would you guess? Are you incapable of guessing how deep the hole is?
I have a pretty good idea how deep the hole is. I was trying to work Gavin into it for a reason. I'll show you here in a second.
Okay.
I was trying to work Gavin into it because of what's going on in this photo that I'm posting to the Discord right now.
What am I looking at?
You're looking at a guy with a gas-powered leaf blower 5 feet from me blowing leaves in my backyard that I didn't know my girlfriend scheduled somehow during the podcast. So I was trying not to talk for a second.
Gavin, are you here?
Ooh.
Is somebody printing the law?
Are you okay?
Well, I've just realized this computer's been on for, a month without being used, and it's really struggling to open Slack. I'm trying to Slack you. I'm trying to Slack Eric this link to the whole video, and it sort of loads a new piece, and then I can't hear anything for a minute, and then it loads a little bit more.
Welcome to my world. This is great. Isn't it fun?
Have you Andrewed my computer while I've been away, Andrew?
I think you've just done it by being away. I can't take credit for that.
Okay. I'd say the hole's 2 feet deep. What do you think, Gavin?
That's it. All of that fucking all of that. 2 feet.
You dig a hole.
2 feet.
I'm gonna tell you what I told Gavin in the moment when I was between breaths. Every scene in every movie where somebody gets murdered or accidentally hit by a car and they have to cover it up by digging a real grave to put the body in the woods at night, like lit by a car, is bullshit. It is impossible to dig a human-sized hole. Fuck you, every director in the history of film who has put that into a movie. You're a fucking liar who's never dug a fucking hole in your fucking life. That's what I'll say. I'll also say this, too, because my entire house... Sorry, Gavin, I don't mean to cut you off, but my entire house is built on rock. I guarantee you more murders go solved in Texas because of the ground than any other state.
2 feet.
Gavin, go ahead.
Well, yeah, in films, I feel like it would be really easy to get an accurate representation because, the actors stood next to the hole they've just, in quotes, dug, are probably actually stood next to just two people from the art department who actually just dug the hole. So just mimic what they're doing and you'd have an accurate representation.
They have tools.
What tools did you... Wait, can we recap what you had for your 2 foot hole? What tools?
Why didn't you watch the video?
I'd love to watch the video. Oh my god.
Okay, I'm going to see if this works. Oh, boy.
It's only about a minute.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to notify. We're going to see what happens. Here we go. Can everyone see feet?
Hold on. Yeah.
Okay.
Swap over. Oh, yep. I can see feet.
Yeah.
Watch stream.
Okay, here it comes.
This will be on our YouTube page, sir. The well-prepared tool of a hammer. The pot is halfway above the hole. You can put a shoe. If you put a shoe on that pot, it would be above ground. That was like a heist movie where like everything, like a comedy heist film where literally everything goes wrong. That was amazing.
That was an hour cut down to about a minute.
I was about to say, what did you have, about 60 minutes of footage there?
Oh, yeah. I had at least 50-something minutes.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why did you try to dig through the rock?
Yeah. Why not
Instead
just make
of
another hole?
Around it.
We were having trouble digging around it. We didn't know how big it was, so then we thought, what if we split it in half and then just dig it up in pieces?
Oh, what? It's the worst. Like you're fucking Andy Dufresne trying to get through a rock. Like, why don't I understand?
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't have any spoons.
Did you not?
We also didn't have either of you two idiots there helping us.
Oh, I would have just said, let's dig a different hole. We're three shovels. Dude. We're 3 shovels into this rock.
What? Here, man. We didn't. It was a while before we realized. Yeah. In retrospect, should we, the second we hit that rock, have stopped? Of course. We should have gone to a different spot of the yard. Although, I got to be honest with you, there were at least 3 rocks that size in the vicinity of that, because we touched them all. I have no, I'm pretty certain that there's a rock every 6 inches like that in my yard. So it wouldn't have mattered. We would have just had a bunch of third dug holes all over
the whole
yard.
place is like natural beanhole prevention.
Yeah.
I just there was not even an like I understand what you're saying, but the fact that there wasn't even an attempt at a hole 2 is what is wild to me. Not that you're not right, like you could be totally right, but I don't understand being married to that hole.
Do you know why we found the second rock? When I go, there's another rock here, or the third rock. It's because we decided to shift the hole over away from the second rock. And as we did that, like the hole, you don't notice it, but it gets bigger at the end because we did essentially what you're saying, Andrew. We stretched the hole out to the right and hit another fucking rock.
You're just making that hole wider. That's not a different hole. You're just extending your base hole. I'd move to a completely different part of the yard.
It would be the same result, dude.
I don't know if you know that.
I'm pretty sure.
Based on the video I just saw, I don't think you're an expert in this field in any way. There's zero opinion you could just have without trying that I'd believe based on your expertise.
Well, here's what we're going to have to do. So that I can respect your opinion on holes, we're going to need you to turn in a video of you digging a hole, showing us how it's done. Maybe do like a Bob Vila, like home improvement style video explaining how to properly dig a hole as Canadians do.
Listen, it has to be in your yard, first of all, because every terrain is different. So if we're like really comparing, if we're trying to make my point accurate, it's that you could have dug a much easier, better hole with a lot less effort. So it'd have to be in your yard.
It is challenging in a million ways.
I think by the time we've done the actual bean hole and eaten the beans, it'll be enough for like a full half-an-hour episode on our YouTube channel of just the bean hole experience, because there's so much footage.
I can't wait.
Put the beans yet.
I can't wait for another food review where I just watch you guys all eat and talk about how good the food is. That's going to be great. A follow-up. That's the gimmick. Is it safe to say that beans are not a cure for swelling and just general hip pain? Because I'm assuming it sounded like before those were back-to-back endeavors.
They were.
We went straight to the beans, and I've not yet prepared the bean video, but I do have 2 pictures from it that I think sum it up quite nicely.
Oh, I'm so excited. So it's been a long day, or 2 hours at least, sweating hot out Texas, swinging at baseballs. You come home for the...
So, Gav...
they look like dog shit. What a heartbreaking story in 2 photos.
Nick said it looks like the pots of food in Resident Evil 7. It does.
It does. Resident Evil 7. That's so bad. I can't believe there was a time in which I was sad I missed the beans. Well, how many people came over for the beans?
Just Nick and Eric and Gavin.
Oh,
it was a very exclusive. It was limited to face.
well, and Emily's parents.
Well, yeah, and Emily and her parents. Who Emily's dad was so sweet, he had 2 helpings. I don't know why.
What?
Yeah, I had a couple
Wait,
of
you
bowls.
ate these?
Yeah.
Gavin did too. That's right. So, it was a contrasting day of highs and lows. I think that the baseball thing couldn't have gone better. Biggest vindication of my adult life. It turns out I should be batting cleanup for the Dodgers. And then, but probably not cooking for them. The bean hole was a disaster, an unmitigated disaster. Not only did it come out of the ground looking like that, they were undercooked and lukewarm at best.
At one point, we went to the hole where we just buried all the ashes the day before, and I put my hand on the ground, and I was like, ooh, it's a bit warm. And then Eric was like, is it warm because of the fire or warm because the sun is on it? And I just put my hand on a different piece of the yard that had the sun on it, and I was like, it's because the sun's on it. There was absolutely no heat coming from underground whatsoever.
It's clear to me that I'll be honest, I was pretty demoralized. I actually haven't moved that Dutch oven of beans from that spot. It's still sitting there. I refuse to. I'm just avoiding my backyard.
Can you quickly take a photo of what the beans look like now? Can we get a bean update?
Yeah, I'll go outside in a second and do it. I'll go outside in a second and do it.
Oh my God.
They definitely didn't fully cook. Clearly the fire went out early. I don't know if we didn't put enough coals in there or I don't know. We gotta go back to the drawing board.
You didn't have enough space to put coals in your 1 foot hole?
Dude, it was so hot. Gavin and I
this?
could barely get them in. It was so hot, right?
Because it's 1 foot off the ground.
I was wondering whether we should have left like an air chimney to keep the embers alive, but I think in all the videos it just says completely burial.
Yeah, it's so weird. So clearly we have to do it again. Because while we were eating the beans, and we all ate the beans, we realized that we should make a cookbook. Face cooks the food, and we can have our perfected beanhole recipe in there. And what was the other recipe?
Well, we wanted to use the pizza oven that you've never touched.
Gavin's gonna make pizza in my pizza oven, and we're gonna come up with a face pizza recipe. Andrew can make it. We can put Andrew's salad in there.
And as we've said, the baseballs and the beanhole videos are both now out on our YouTube channel. So we have the space to start the next video.
They're great videos, by the way. It's the first time I watched them.
Oh yeah, you were excited for Beanhole. What did you think of Beanhole?
Beanhole was awesome.
Little long,
they were
right?
both really good videos. A little long. No,
Could
I
use
thought it
some
was
background music. A little long.
No, I thought it was great. The build up of the bean reveal and like the trying to be kind of positive about it. And Jeff, you just staring for a long time, going, "I wonder what was wrong. What went wrong here?" It was great. They're great videos.
Speaking of bean holes, I do have one small thing. You guys might have both seen it because it came to me via social media. So I assume it probably made its way to y'all as well. But have you guys been made aware of the Beanhole Festival?
No.
I saw it was a thing, but I don't know anything about it. Please,
I'll put it in
explain
Discord.
more.
We just missed it. It was this week.
Oh shit!
In Minnesota, there is in Pequot Lakes. There is a Beanhole Days. Come and celebrate Beanhole Days in Pequot Lakes, July 12th and 13th. One-of-a-kind event is a rootin' tootin' good for fun for the whole family. Dude, it gets so much better. At 5:30 p.m., they bury the beans on Tuesday. On Wednesday from 9 to 4, it's a craft fair with food vendors. They also have kids' activities, trampoline jump, water wars,
and this is all just
bungee.
like beans in the ground time.
It's all beans.
Time.
Yeah, beans are cooking. 11:30 a.m., this is the big event to me. They crown the king and queen bean.
That's great.
I swear to God, there's a yearly king and queen bean of Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. And then at 12 noon, they dig up and serve the beans. Yeah, I think they crown. I think you're like, it's a man and a woman.
Oh.
I hope the crown is a bean. I don't know if it is or not. I don't see any pictures.
I was imagining basically like Fall Guys, like a little crown on a little bean.
And then because as you do at a bean festival, from 12 to 2, they have Memories of Elvis tribute shows. And then they have a drive up and pick up to go to get beans. And you can buy bean shirts and a bean mug. So here's what I'm saying. 2023, it's the year of the Beanhole Festival. We go to Beanhole Days. We make it a big deal. We have a community meetup at Beanhole Days in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. I'm assuming it'll exist in 2023. The second they announce the dates, let's book our tickets.
The week we put out the Beanhole video, and then we missed that by that was yesterday at the time of this recording.
The timing is insane.
Damn.
I love the fact that there is an Elvis tribute show just in the middle of this. What else could you need at a Beanhole event?
Was he a big Beanhole guy?
I don't think so. I think they're limited on whatever entertainment is available in town, and so it's like, let's go get Gary to dust off his guitar and do the Elvis thing again.
There's nothing better than the serving of the beans to then have the memories of Elvis in the background. When I'm eating beans, I want to reminisce about those great Elvis memories.
I wonder if he sings like a hunka bean in love. You ain't nothing but a beanhole, farting all the time, dude. He could do all kinds of bean-related parodies. That'd be awesome. It'd be like he could be like, for all we know, that dude is the Weird Al Yankovic of beans.
I'd love if that person existed. I hope that they are. If they aren't the Weird Al beans, we need to find the Weird Al beans because they exist.
Totally agree.
They're somewhere.
So anyway, Eric, if you could go ahead and put that on the books. 2023 Beanhole Days. I'd like.
You got it. I'll start
full cast to go.
Booking tickets or hotels.
Yeah, can we get a
Do you
booth?
think there's hotels, or do you think it's like a camping thing, like a Coachella, where you have to like sleep in a tent?
I'm down for either.
I love the idea.
You're
of
down to
being a
sleep
booth.
in a tent at the Bean Festival?
Yeah, dude, it's fucking win in Rome, man.
All right.
These are simple bean people living a beanie life. I want to immerse myself in their world.
Nick said, "Be careful where you pitch the tent."
It could be. Oh no! What if we pitch our tent right on top of the beanhole?
It's probably so important to them. It'd be like someone like putting their ice cream truck over the.
You're gonna make me pop my
Groundhog thing.
stitches, goddammit. Oh, that's so fucking fun. Oh, fucking Christ.
I really want you to do round 2 of beans at the Bean Festival. No training, no prep, just giving it another go live in front of the people.
Maybe we could screen our beanhole video there and then have everyone tell us what we did wrong.
Oh, that's a great idea. We can make a beat.
We've already got a beanhole themed short film. 21 minutes of beanhole.
This is great. I can't wait for 2023.
Yeah, I'm pretty jazzed too. Emily asked this question to me the other day, and I thought it was a really interesting question. I'd love to hear y'all's take on it. I know Eric's. Would you, if we had to do it again, if they were both in front of you and you had to eat one helping of them, would you rather eat a slice of the Plowman's pizza again or a bowl of the beanhole beans?
Beanhole beans.
Really? Nick, how about you?
The beanhole beans, for sure.
I'm going to say he wasn't in the mask.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely didn't seem to be in the mask. Okay, this is interesting. I don't know. I mean, the Plowman's pizza was pretty fucking gross, but I still kind of have nightmares about those beans.
They weren't bad, though.
Really?
Yeah, they were pretty gross. They look like, all I can think of when I think about those beans is the food in in Resident Evil 7. It's on like the,
Yeah.
you know, like the buckets of food with like flies on it and shit. That's what I think of when I think of those beans.
Now, do you think expectation has to do with that evaluation for you? Because you were so excited about the beanhole beans, where I feel like, and I wasn't present for the experience, but I assume that it was pretty clear what the Plowman's pizza was going to be at every stage of making it.
Well, the Plowman's pizza could have been better.
Well, obviously. I don't think it could have been worse from what I heard.
The middle was raw, and the side was burnt.
Yeah, my point is that there was hope for the beans until you open them. Where with the pizza, knowing what
There
was
was
on
hope
it
for
and
my
seeing it
pizza.
being made. How do you feel? Was there hope, Jeff? Were you optimistic at any point?
No, I wasn't optimistic at any point for any of our food that day. But I will say, after the experience, I am optimistic that he could modify that recipe to be something super edible.
And I think the crust was all right.
Yeah. I also think like if we we were using pre-cooked, like half-cooked crust, so it cooked faster than the ingredients on top, and then we didn't understand. You know, I only watched one YouTube video and nobody else watched any, so we were going off of one YouTube video in terms of placement and heat and stuff. So there's definitely so much room for improvement. I think a properly cooked Plowman's pizza would have been a lot less gross.
I think if I started with dough, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Is that out yet?
I don't know.
The pizza at this point?
Yeah, by
I
the
don't
time
know.
this one comes out, is that out, do you think?
This will be out in what, 2 weeks? It's cutting it close. We can try. We can definitely try. We'll see. Can I change the subject a little bit?
Of course.
I'm curious
sure.
about what you guys. I'm trying to think ahead on face because I have time, and Beanhole Days is a very real thing.
Yeah.
And it is the middle of July.
Yes.
Is this something we're considering still? So I know what we're doing exactly.
Yeah, I need to look at it. I also really want to go to the Hobo convention this year as well.
What? Do you want to?
Yeah, there's like a Hobo festival where they crown the new king and queen of the hobos every year, and it's a whole thing. And I think it's around the same time as Beanhole Days. And I've been a fan of hobos longer than beans. I'd like to. I'm going to try to work both out. But yes,
now
tentatively,
here's
I would
what I
love to
will
go to both.
say: this show has not been notoriously a hobo podcast.
No.
No, that's
It's
more of a me thing. Yeah,
Right.
What do you mean you're into hobos?
Yeah, right. Thank you, Gavin.
I'm into hobos. I like the idea of the hobo lifestyle. I'm reading a book about the history of hobos right now. I got hobo tattoos. I don't know. I like the idea of like riding. I don't want to do it. I've never want to do it, but I just think it was an interesting lifestyle to ride the rail from town to town and try to figure out like I don't know where what towns were friendly and what weren't, and how to get farm work, and like it was an interesting time in America, the industrialization of agriculture, and it was an interesting touch point in history, and I think it's kind of fascinating.
That was such a valid response to that question.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm
Great
sorry.
answer.
Right. And I'm cool. I like, great, man. I'm glad you have a real answer for that. So are we doing the beans or what's going on?
I don't think we can go to Beanfest until we successfully have a Beanhole. I think they got to do Beanhole 2 before we can show up to Beanhole Fest.
What are Beanhole Days?
Beanhole Days this year, Tuesday, July 18th and Wednesday, July 19th.
Then I can do it.
Yeah, I think we go. We don't necessarily have to try our hand at beaning. We could just maybe that's our learning trip.
Okay.
We learn from the experts.
We could get a lot of tips.
Yeah.
We'll take notes.
I'm now on board. If you guys scout Beanhole Fest and then come back and then do the Beanhole thing with what you've learned, that I support.
I'm just trying to figure out like budget wise what it's going to be for us to like fly there. I'll send you this link here where we have, sort of an abundance of things that we can do. I mean, not activities because it does not seem like there is much, but there's a t-shirt, there's a vintage t-shirt, there's a beans to go container, there's a package, there's a beans cost, but there's also a beans and mug cost. So we just kind of, I don't want to get nickeled and dimed by Beanhole Days, but I am trying to figure out if this is something we are going to do and what exactly that means. Burying the beans occurs on the 18th.
Why is it only 10 hours long?
I mean, how much?
I mean, it's beans, Gavin.
Yeah, there you go.
How much do you want?
I just thought it'd last more than a day.
Well, it starts on the 18th.
Well, it starts at 5 p.m. on the 18th and ends at 3 a.m.
I was just going to say, I'm disappointed by the lack of beans. There's only 5 cast iron kettles? Only 5 people making beans at Beanhole Fest?
See, this is why I brought this up, because I'm worried about Beanhole Fest, if I'm being honest.
I don't think... I'm back on board. I'm going to see what you're saying, Eric. I feel like our vision of what Beanhole Fest is can never compare to what the experience... And I don't want to be down on Beanhole.
Well, what if we all go and do an episode from there?
Yes, I think that's a great idea as well. I think there's 2 things happening here. One, beans are breaking, but they haven't quite broke yet. So when we get into like a Beanhole Days now, we're getting in at the ground floor. It's kind of like how like the first year we went to Comic-Con was the last year you could just get in and get a booth at Comic-Con. And then our booth suddenly became worth like 10 times what we were paying for it from that point on. Like, we're at that inflection point of Beanhole Days. Yeah, but we got it, and it's working. Slowly, but this only happens once a year, right? We got to go. We got to prove it out. When we go to Beanhole Day and we show the larger face community and then the world, because remember, a lot of people listen to face. 7.5 billion people on Earth. There's a lot of people that don't listen to face yet that we need to identify.
I think we're over 8 billion now.
8 billion. We got to There's another 500 million people we got to fucking engage with. It's gonna start growing, and then it's gonna go like crazy. Also, here's the thing. We're going to go all the way up there for Beanhole Days. Gavin's bitching because it's not a 5-day festival. Listen, man, you're going to want to get in there. You're going to want to do it for 5 hours, and then you want to get the fuck out of there and go back to Austin. Yeah, I think it's good.
Not really Beanhole Days if it's a 10-hour event.
Well, it starts on the day before, right? It starts on the 5:30 p.m. on the 18th.
Yeah, but if we started Sloppy Joe's at 11:30 p.m. and wrapped at 1, I wouldn't call it Sloppy Days.
And then the next day starts at 9 a.m. and goes until 2 p.m.
Wait, what?
You just got to scroll down a little bit, and it says Tuesday the 18th, 5:30 p.m., burying the beans. And then you go to Wednesday the 19th.
Oh, I was just looking at the top header where it's a lie.
Right.
It also says 5:30 p.m. burying the beans at South Trailside Park. Watch as the pit crew lowers the 5 cast iron kettles, which they may be fucking huge. They might be the size of a Geo Metro. We don't know. So that they can cook overnight and be served to thousands the next day. There's going to be thousands of bean fans the next day. We're going to be amongst our people. It's going to be a really warm, welcoming feeling, and we're going to love it.
This is going to be the least my people I've ever been around. I mean,
I'm not going to fit in. We're a podcast with fuck in the title. No one here wants us there.
And while we're there, we can petition the Chamber of Commerce at Brainerd Lakes to change it from Beanhole Days to Beanhole Day Plus.
Well, no, yeah. I think we should go. I'm up for going.
Okay. We can figure this all out. I just wanted to kind of get the feeling, kind of gut check here on what it was going to be. So it is the middle of the week, which is very weird. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday. What?
Yeah, but there's going to be a trampoline jump and kids bungee, and there's going to be water wars.
But are you ready for the crowning of the King and Queen Bean?
I am, and then a couple weeks later, I'm going to go see the King and the Queen Hobo get crowned. Chris Olsen's going to perform his Elvis tribute show.
Oh wow, the Chris Olsen and his Elvis tribute show.
Yeah,
I hope he gets enough time.
It borders Canada.
Yeah.
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 That's a fact.
How do you feel about that fact?
I think it's a factual fact. That's what I think. It's a good fact right there.
Andrew, what if a plane ticket was to arrive in your inbox, all expenses paid, for a trip to the States, but not Texas, not our state, a really north close to Canada state, for just a 2-day vacation?
If it's legal, as long as everything is legal, as far as me being in the U.S. not working, I'm not
You're attending a bean festival.
Yeah. We wouldn't record there or anything. We would record at an undisclosed location later, at a different time.
We would hop across the border to Ontario. Oh, well, then I can't work.
No. Here's what we'll do.
No.
Here's what we'll do. Eric has this thing that we record with Anma, this little portable recorder, right? Andrew will sit on the Canadian side, and we'll sit on the U.S. side, and then
let's
put the recorder in the middle.
Long XLR cables. Can you do a split border podcast? Is that legal?
Yeah. Why would that be illegal?
Yeah, that'd be fine if I was, as long as I'm in Canada, or
because
if I have.
Yeah, that's perfect.
If they can find roads that were roads from people walking them with camels and feet 6,000 years ago, buried in the desert, they should be able to. Oh, I just saw this documentary about this place called the Empty Quarter, and they discovered trade routes by doing some sort of a ground penetrating radar, and they can see where the ground is still harder after 3,000 years, where it used to just be a trade route where people would walk and bring their carts and camels and stuff, and it packed the earth down to such a degree that it's still there. You can't see it because sand has covered it now. But if the ground penetrating radar or whatever can still see that packed dirt and can still trace the lines of these great trade routes throughout the Middle East, and they're never going to go away. I just think that's wild.
You gotta get one of those in your backyard so you can find ideal beanhole locations. Find it from where's the dirt the lightest.
That's such a great idea.
That's a great idea.
We could find the Buick before we hit it with a shovel.
I mean, we're not going to do that, but we do need to dig this beanhole. We were talking about that over the weekend. We need to figure out. Apparently, some flowers got planted where we were going to dig beanhole dirt, and now we can't dig it there. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Emily spread bluebonnet seeds, and so now we can't dig where I wanted to dig. So we have to find an alternate dig, which is fine. I got my yard's big enough. I got another one.
I can't wait for beanhole 2.
Beanhole 2, it's not even Beanhole 2. We have stuff that we have to do with the Beanhole dirt.
I'm aware. I'm just saying I'm excited personally about Beanhole 2. I think you guys can do it on the second chance. I think you've learned some things.
I totally agree. And we might be the first people to ever dig a 6-foot bean hole and try to cook beans that far down. We'll basically be cooking them for the slee stacks.
Yeah, easily.
I got it figured out for you guys. I just had to order a jackhammer this week instead.
Right.
So,
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Hey, tomorrow we're jackhammering, huh?
We are. By the time you hear this, we will have already jackhammered and started filling beanhole pens.
Wait, if you were out of town, how did you manage the jackhammer?
Because I had to do it with the limited time that I had while catching up. I had to jackhammer.
I'd like to hear a story about you guys rented a fucking jackhammer and you dug a hole in Jeff's backyard. What happened? What went on with that? You guys got dirt, beanhole dirt.
Well, there'll be a video for it.
Oh, there's a video?
Yeah, we filmed.
Hell yeah. How did it go?
We didn't need a jackhammer.
Yeah, we didn't need it, but it was worth it. It was so much fun.
I'm not saying it wasn't worth it or anything, but we definitely didn't need it. We should not be allowed to rent it. No one should be allowed to rent this kind of stuff. When I was with Gavin taking it back, I think we left the rental place and he just went, this shouldn't, I shouldn't be allowed to have any of this.
Yeah, I mean, it was next to a giant stump grinder. Like, why do they let people just have these things?
Crazy.
The amount of inadvertent triggerings of the jackhammer was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just like trying to reposition it or lift it up and it'd be like...
If that thing shot bullets, half my neighborhood would have been dead.
Yeah,
every time you touched it,
was
it
terrible.
Went off. Oh my God.
Did you guys encounter like any rocks like you did on the first beanhole dig? And it wasn't like useful, or what was that like?
We broke some rocks apart. Mostly it was Jeff getting it caught in a stump and then us having to try to pull it out of a stump for a really long time.
Man, if you put the wrong bit on a jackhammer and you go straight into a tree, like into a root or the dirt, it can be very hard to get it out of that dirt. It can really wedge itself in there. There was like maybe, 5 or 6 minutes there where Eric and I were a little nervous.
Well, there was one point where Jeff had just started using it and he was getting used to it. And then he got the confidence just to look into the camera and smile while he was using it, but didn't realize that it just was getting driven straight down. It just kept going. And by the time he stopped posing, it was like an entire foot in the ground.
It was just, we got 2 different bits for this thing. One was for breaking rock and the other one was for like cutting through clay and mud. Neither were needed for what we were doing.
No.
It was so soft.
Yeah.
But we got to use the jackhammer and that was a lot of fun. And also, it's so exhausting to use a jackhammer.
My favorite part too is that Jeff was so keen to get it going that he attempted to attach the little spade attachment to the underside of the cart that it arrived on instead of the actual.
I did.
Instead of the actual jackhammer.
I was just excited.
It was so fucking heavy to get in and out of my 2008 Hyundai Accent. Like all of these, it's just day labor dudes renting stuff. And then me in my little beep beep hello, like my little car, and it's like this. I don't belong here, man. It's crazy.
Eric said when he went to rent it, the guy was like, "Man, you are lucky. This is the last jackhammer we have to rent in town," which got us thinking. Somewhere in Austin, which is the city under more fucking construction than anywhere else on earth right now. Somewhere in Austin, there's a crew standing around waiting because there was one less jackhammer in the city, and real construction work isn't happening because of this.
It's a thing where you have to like when you're renting this from a place, you go like, I don't know, I go into a mode of like, yeah, man, do this all the time.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, brother. Hell yeah. That kind of thing.
Oh, you got the Jack X37? Nice, nice. I was looking
He's
at that.
He's just like,
model.
oh, yeah, you know how this part works and this thing? And I went, oh, absolutely. He's like, oh, yeah, you've done this before. And then took it, and then there's the fruits of our labor. A jackhammer stuck in a stump as Jeff.
This is Jeff digging it out of the ground with the shovel.
As long as we don't show that to the rental guy, I think I'm scot-free.
Andrew was so fucking stupid and unnecessary.
It looks
And then
like
heavy.
you needed
It
to do
weighed as
rescue
much
mission.
as Eric's car. Oh
It's
my
so
god.
fucking heavy. It was so
Was
heavy.
it the type of thing that like you hurt from the next day? Like you woke up and you felt sore?
I felt
I
it
feel like-
in like my upper back and kind of like my obliques.
Okay.
Because you're trying
Yeah.
to like hang on and you don't realize how much like you're activating when you do it. And
Yeah.
it's
Sure.
just- it's different from like, you know, lifting weights or running or anything. It's just your body's getting thrown around by something that is meant to be. I lied to the guy when I went and picked it up. He's like, what are you using this for? And I'm like, I don't know. My boss told me today we're getting through some dry clay and we're getting through about a 3.5-inch slab. And he's like, oh man, heavy stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but that's why we got this, right? And he's like, I hear that. And then we got stuck in a circle.
When we returned it together, Eric just went into a mode where he just kept saying phrases, but wasn't really actually saying it. He was just like, he was like, yeah, cut through butter, man, easy as pie, you know, like sort of like just like saying. He's like, yeah, you know it, man.
Yeah, hear that? I mean, Nick knows all of them.
unbelievable.
It's the same. Yeah. You just gotta, you know, if you say enough stuff and you just talk in like a big circle, it's like you've done the job, and now everyone buys that you belong there. It's all Nick is right. It's always working for the weekend, but then you start getting in a circle and you start going like, yeah, wake up every day, punch that time clock, you know? And they go, yeah, absolutely. And you're like, oh, I'm just saying shit.
It's like you've memorized a little like book of drivel that you can just that just allows you to communicate with any type of person.
I mean, that's what it was to work in a warehouse. Is just talking
Yeah.
like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh fuck,
It's
that's
its
great.
own language.
Yeah, it is a form of pleasantry. Absolutely.
It totally
Absolutely.
is. Absolutely, yeah.
Anyway, so you and Emily filled the dirt into the pins after Tony took it home and baked it in his oven to get rid of impurities and moisture.
Yeah.
And then we also had the launch for the sale of the nacho helmet, right? The face nacho helmet.
Okay.
All right.
What are we doing?
We're gonna dig a beanhole. We're gonna dig
Beanhole too?
Here's what we said we were gonna do.
Yeah.
We were gonna dig a 6-foot beanhole, and then at the bottom of it, we're gonna put a USB drive with us talking about digging the 6-foot beanhole.
Yeah.
Now we've prepared none of that.
No.
But we are gonna dig a 6-foot beanhole, or at least as far as we can get, and then we're gonna transfer all the dirt into those buckets.
Yeah.
Here, I'll show you right here.
It's not enough buckets for 6 feet.
It's not, but it's enough buckets for 2,000 beanhole pins.
So if you're getting one of these pens with our beanhole dirt, you are witnessing the video where we have dug up the dirt.
Try and look out for your specific dirt.
Yeah,
because you'll have it.
Have a look. It's also being sifted, but it's mud.
I have a note,
Okay.
Ooh.
but I don't know how I got this information. I don't know where I heard this.
Okay.
Ooh.
But Eric, did you know that where Jeff was digging, or where we were digging the second beanhole, that Jeff pisses there sometimes?
What? We
How
dig
do I
a
know
piss
that?
hole?
How do I know that?
I
Why-
don't think
Why-
that's true.
What?
Why?
How have I got it written?
I don't know.
How did I write this thing I made up?
I have definitely peed in my backyard a couple of times when, like, I'm running home from a bike ride and, like, I don't think I can make it inside, you know? But I wouldn't pee right there because I would be visible to my neighbors and to the street. I pee in a there's like one spot in my backyard where if I really have to go, I'll pee like wedged in between a tree and
But you're
my
at your
little shed.
house.
Yeah,
You
but
never
like,
had a pee corner, Gavin?
so like here's the deal with my house though. Like the bike goes in the backyard through a long gate and stuff, right? And then there's no way for me to get into the back of the house. Like there's no key or number pad or anything. So I got to go all the way. If the doors are locked, I got to go all the way back around to the front of the house and let myself in. And you know what? When I was 30, that wouldn't have been a problem. But at 48, I guess when I got to go, I got to go.
But you've already been on like probably like an hour-long bike ride.
Yeah, that I didn't want to fucking get off my bike to pee, and so it's come to an issue. It's come
So
to
you
a
can't
head.
wait another 25 seconds to get in the front door?
No.
Andrew couldn't wait more than 3 minutes into the episode to leave and pee. Like when a guy's got to go, he's got to go.
So Jeff, if you got intercepted by a neighbor on the back, like on the way back from a bike ride, it'd be a disaster.
It could be, yeah. Which is why I don't talk to my neighbors. One time, you know how you were talking about how you walk in therapy sometimes.
Well, only when my power's off.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you were talking about how somebody stopped you when you were you were having therapy and somebody stopped you.
Yeah, I
to
was
say
holding
hi.
my shoe as well.
Yeah, you're holding your shoe. I do the same. Well, I did. I don't do therapy anymore. But when I was doing it, I would walk and talk at the same time. I get like fidgety. I can't sit still, so I have to walk. And so I would always walk around my neighborhood or like drive to a different neighborhood. One of the last times I did therapy, I had to pee so bad I had to stop therapy, go into a porta potty at a construction site, and then resume therapy.
That piss probably cost you $10.
It's fine. It was worth it. It was really worth it.
So I don't know where I heard that. Maybe from Emily somewhere. But
You probably heard it from Emily, but I would, dude, listen, I remember where I pee. I don't think I've ever peed on that specific spot, and I wouldn't because I would be afraid that would fuck with Emily's seeds.
Ah, that makes sense.
So you haven't pissed there since the seeds?
If I'd ever pissed there before, I don't remember it, but I definitely haven't pissed there since the seeds. There's no danger that you were digging up pee, if that's what you're worried about.
Okay. We also, at some point soon, need to actually put beans in the new bean hole. Because,
Yes.
as people have
Yes.
correctly pointed out, all they have is dirt from a dirt hole and possibly
No.
piss.
Right, but
No.
that's pre-bean. All that is pre-bean.
You
like,
gotta
we
take
dug
the
it.
dirt out of the hole before you can put the beans in the hole.
Right, but what I'm saying is
Duh.
until beans have hit the hole, they don't actually have bean hole dirt yet.
Well, all right, well, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, what's up?
Cooking beans?
Let's cook some beans this weekend.
Let's get
Fuck
some
it.
beans.
I'm
All
around.
right.
You want to have a
Alright.
little beanie Saturday?
Yeah, a little Christmas beanie Saturday. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. I gotta go buy the supplies.
Beans?
I gotta get a new Dutch oven thing.
You got to get
to
new
put it in.
dirt.
What are you
Cast
going to do
iron.
differently?
I left the last one in my backyard just to, like, I cleaned it out. I threw the beans away, but I left the thing just in the backyard to rust. I was like so mad at it, so I gotta buy it.
Speaking of, I got some packages yesterday, and I opened it up,
Ooh.
and I was very excited to have received a Jeff Dirt pen, which was not at all expected because of the dirt situation. And I was like, oh, wow, that's great. I can't believe it came on through. That's awesome. And then I thought it was so funny. I saw on our merch Slack today that Natalie, who's part of the merch team, was like, I see it arrived. We're going to send you another one. And if that works, then we're going to open it up to Canada. Because I guess it's technically not supposed to be allowed. But I am
seeing how much dirt they can slip over the border.
Yeah, I am, without knowing. I was just like, oh, that's so nice. They thought of me and they sent me a dirt pen. But no, I'm a guinea pig for illegal activity. As long as the second pen arrives. Canada, you're open to buying a dirt pen. The whole new market is being added.
It all
very
hit-
funny.
Disclose the dirt?
I don't remember what was disclosed on the thing. On the inside, it was very clearly a dirt pen, the way they listed the product. But I think on the front, it may have just been like merchandise, is what it said.
So the future of Canadians being able to buy those pins
It's reliant
hinges on
on
your
me
second pin arriving.
And also, I don't know if this is unrelated. I don't know what it would be. I don't think we have any new shirts coming up, but it was like, we'll send you a pen and a shirt with this. And it was like, I felt like it was a bribe almost of like, you're going to get a little extra too. A little something.
Here's a little something for your hard work.